Have you ever looked at a man and wondered, does he really love me? Or am I imagining it? Maybe he says the right things sometimes, maybe he shows up inconsistently, or maybe he leaves you questioning yourself late at night, replaying conversations, decoding text messages, and trying to understand what his behavior truly means. If you've ever found yourself second-guessing his feelings, you're not alone. And here's the truth, most people won't tell you. A man can try to hide his words, but he can't hide his love. Real love leaks out in ways he doesn't even notice. It shows up in his smallest choices, his quietest actions, and the moments where he thinks no one is paying attention. In this video, we're going to break down the undeniable signs, the ones rooted in human psychology and authentic behavior, that reveal when a man is genuinely in love with you. These aren't cliches, not the same recycled advice you've heard 1,000 times. These are the subtle pieces of truth that often go unnoticed, yet speak louder than any "I love you." Because when a man truly cares, you feel it in the way he looks at you when you're not looking. You feel it in the way he prioritizes your peace, protects your heart, and tries, even imperfectly, to show up. So if you've been searching for clarity, if you're tired of confusion, mixed signals, and emotional guessing games, stay with me. By the end of this video, you won't need to decode him anymore. You'll know, without a doubt, whether his love is real. When a man truly loves someone, he may not always say the right words. He may not always understand his own emotions. And he might even try to keep those feelings tucked away. But love has a way of slipping through the cracks. It reveals itself in his behavior long before he's ready to admit what's happening inside his heart. Men are often taught to be guarded, to stay composed, to avoid vulnerability, yet love is the one force that breaks through those defenses without permission. A man in love begins to show patterns he doesn't consciously plan. It's in the way he becomes more attentive without being asked. He listens differently. He pays attention to details he never cared about before. Suddenly, the things that matter to you start mattering to him. He remembers your preferences, your stories, your feelings, not because he's trying to impress you, but because your happiness has quietly become important to him. And men don't make space in their lives for just anyone. When a man is emotionally invested, you'll notice him rearranging his schedule, making time even when he's busy, showing up even when he's tired, and prioritizing you at moments when convenience isn't an option. This isn't performance, it's instinct. Love pulls him forward, shaping his choices even without his awareness. You'll also see it in his protectiveness, not controlling but caring. He worries about your safety, your stress, your well-being. His love shows up in how he checks on you, supports you, and steps in when you need someone in your corner. He doesn't need recognition for it. He simply can't help wanting you to feel secure. Then there's his vulnerability, the one thing men struggle to share. When he loves you, walls start to lower. He opens up about fears, dreams, insecurities. He lets you into places he keeps hidden from the world. And that shift, that willingness to be seen, is one of the clearest signs of genuine love. A man can try to hide his emotions with silence, distance, or distraction. But real love always leaves a trail. Through his actions, his presence, his energy, and the quiet ways he shows you that your heart matters to him, his love becomes unmistakable. Sometimes the biggest indicators of a man's love aren't loud, dramatic gestures. They're the quiet, almost invisible behaviors he doesn't even realize he's showing. These are the moments that slip by unnoticed unless you're paying attention, but they reveal far more than anything he could say out loud. When a man truly feels something for you, his emotional guard softens, and that softness shows up in these small yet meaningful actions. One of the first subtle behaviors is the way he watches you when you're speaking. Not the superficial look men give when they're simply being polite, but a deeper, more focused attention. He studies your expressions, listens between the lines, and reacts emotionally to what you say. His eyes soften, his body leans in, and he's present. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because he genuinely cares about your thoughts. Another subtle sign is how he adjusts his behavior to make your life easier. He remembers little things, the way you like your coffee, the topics you're passionate about, the stresses you avoid, without announcing it. He makes tiny adjustments, choosing restaurants you'd enjoy, avoiding topics that upset you, checking in when he senses you're overwhelmed. These small shifts aren't strategic. They're instinctive acts of care. You might also notice how he subtly includes you in his future thinking. He'll talk about events, plans, or experiences in a way that assumes you're part of them. It's not a big dramatic future talk, but those little subconscious slips, like mentioning places he wants to take you, or experiences he imagines sharing, reveal that he's thinking beyond the moment. Another powerful but quiet sign is his attentiveness to your emotional state. He notices when something is off, even before you say a word. Your mood matters to him more than he admits. If you're quiet, he checks in. If you're upset, he adjusts his tone. If you're tired, he tries to lighten your load. His empathy becomes more attuned to you specifically, without him consciously trying to tune in. And perhaps the biggest subtle behavior, he becomes consistent. Even if he's busy, overwhelmed, or stretched thin, he doesn't disappear. His presence becomes reliable, not perfect, but dependable. He follows through. He responds. He shows up in ways that feel steady, not forced. These quiet actions reveal the truth. When a man loves you, his heart speaks through his habits, long before he ever puts his feelings into words. Male attachment doesn't happen randomly or instantly. It develops through a psychological process that often looks different from how women experience connection. For many men, emotional attachment begins quietly, almost subconsciously, as their brain links feelings of safety, admiration, and consistency to the person they're drawn to. Men don't usually attach through words. They attach through experiences. It's the repeated moments where they feel understood, respected, and accepted that begin to form powerful emotional bonds. One of the key psychological triggers for men is emotional security. When a man feels he can be himself without judgment, his guard naturally lowers. He begins to associate that sense of ease with you, and over time, this becomes a source of comfort he doesn't want to lose. This is why men often fall deeper in love when they feel they can be vulnerable without being criticized or dismissed. Another important factor is purpose. Men tend to develop stronger attachments when they feel their presence matters in your life, whether it's offering support, solving a problem, or simply making you smile. When he feels needed in a healthy way, not depended on for everything but valued for who he is, attachment strengthens. His brain registers these moments as emotional rewards, reinforcing his desire to stay connected. Consistency also plays a huge role. While men may not always articulate their feelings, they anchor themselves through routine and reliability. When you become part of his everyday life, someone he talks to, thinks about, or checks on, his emotional bond deepens without him even realizing it. Ultimately, male attachment forms through a mix of emotional safety, purpose, and repeated positive interactions. It's not about what you demand from him, it's about what he naturally begins to feel because of how you show up in his world. This is what transforms affection into genuine emotional connection. Real commitment doesn't have to be shouted, posted, or performed. When a man is genuinely committed to you, his actions begin to shift in ways that are unmistakable, not because he's trying to impress you, but because your presence has become an essential part of his life. These movements are often steady, subtle, and deeply meaningful, revealing that he's no longer thinking short-term. He's investing, he's choosing, he's showing up in ways that prove his intentions without needing fancy words. One of the strongest signs of real commitment is that he begins to take responsibility for the relationship. He doesn't leave everything on your shoulders. He steps up when it comes to planning, communicating, problem solving, and nurturing the bond. If there's a disagreement, he doesn't run away. He wants to understand, repair, and rebuild. A committed man is willing to face uncomfortable conversations because he values the connection more than his pride. You'll also notice that he prioritizes you, not only when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. He adjusts his schedule, makes room in his life, and rearranges his routines so that you feel included rather than optional. He chooses to be there when you need him, even when life is stressful or chaotic. This isn't obligation, it's loyalty in action. Another powerful sign is his willingness to make sacrifices. He doesn't expect you to compromise everything while he stays unchanged. Instead, he meets you halfway, showing flexibility and consideration. Whether it's supporting your goals, respecting your boundaries, or adapting to your needs, he's committed to building something healthy and balanced. his transparency becomes another undeniable marker. A man who is serious about you doesn't keep you guessing. He lets you in on his thoughts, his plans, and the things that matter to him. He wants you to understand his world, and he makes an effort to understand yours. He doesn't hide parts of himself or his life because he wants a future with you built on trust, not mystery. And perhaps the most telling action is his long-term presence. He stays, not just physically, but emotionally. Through stress, challenges, misunderstandings, and growth, he remains engaged. He invests day after day because he sees you as part of his future, not just his present. When a man is truly committed, his actions weave a pattern of consistency, respect, and devotion, creating a foundation that makes you feel secure, valued, and chosen. Men aren't always comfortable expressing love through long conversations or emotional declarations. For many, love is something they do, not something they say. Their actions become the language. Their heart speaks fluently. And when you understand that language, you start to see love in moments you once overlooked. One of the most powerful ways men show love without words is through their reliability. When he loves you, he wants to be someone you can count on. He becomes the person who checks on you after a hard day, who shows up when he says he will, who keeps his promises even when it's inconvenient. This reliability isn't accidental. It's a quiet commitment that grows from a place of genuine care. Another subtle expression of love is his attentiveness to your comfort. He notices when you're cold and hands you his jacket. He slows down his pace so you can walk beside him. He opens doors, carries heavy bags, or steps in when something feels overwhelming. These small acts aren't about trying to impress you. They're instinctive ways he tries to make your world easier and safer. Men also show love through problem solving. When you share a struggle, he listens not just to comfort you, but to find ways to help. He wants to fix things, not because he thinks you're incapable, but because he genuinely hates seeing you stressed. His instinct is to protect your peace, even if he doesn't always express it perfectly. Another clear sign is how he makes space for you in his life. He introduces you to the people who matter to him, includes you in his routines, and brings you into his personal world. He wants you to feel connected to the layers of his life that he doesn't share with just anyone. And then there's the emotional transparency that slowly emerges. He opens up more. He tells you about his fears, dreams, frustrations. He shares the parts of his life he usually guards. This shift isn't random. It's love making him braver than he normally is. Finally, he pays attention to your happiness. He celebrates your wins, supports your goals, and adjusts his behavior when he sees something hurts you. He might not announce "I love you" every day, but he expresses it through effort, presence, and emotional investment. When a man loves without words, his actions become the evidence, steady, consistent, and unmistakably real. It's easy to get caught up in the hope that someone cares as deeply as you do. But sometimes the truth reveals itself not in what a man does, but in what he consistently doesn't do. When a man is not in love, his actions leave a trail, a pattern of indifference, inconsistency, or emotional distance that becomes impossible to ignore once you see it clearly. One of the clearest signs he might not be in love is his lack of effort. Love inspires action, but disinterest breeds excuses. If he only reaches out when it's convenient, if he rarely initiates plans, or if he constantly leaves you wondering where you stand, that's not affection. That's emotional minimalism. A man who cares makes room for you. A man who doesn't keeps you on the margins of his life. Another sign is emotional unavailability. When he avoids vulnerability, deflects serious conversations, or shuts down anytime feelings are mentioned, it often means he's not invested. Men in love tend to open up gradually, but men who aren't interested stay surface level. You'll hear casual talk, jokes, and small talk, but never anything that feels intimate or meaningful. Pay attention to his consistency. Someone who isn't in love will be hot one day and cold the next. He might give just enough affection to keep you hopeful, but his effort never stabilizes. This inconsistency creates confusion, leaving you guessing because he benefits from your uncertainty. Another subtle but painful sign is when your needs feel like a burden to him. If he gets annoyed when you express your feelings, dismisses your concerns, or makes you feel too much for wanting clarity, it shows he's not emotionally invested. Love leans in, indifference pulls away. You'll also notice he keeps you out of his real life. He avoids introducing you to friends or family, keeps his schedule vague, and protects his personal world from your involvement. A man who's not in love maintains distance, not just physically, but emotionally and socially. And perhaps the biggest sign: you don't feel chosen. You don't feel prioritized. You don't feel secure. Instead, you feel like you're constantly trying to prove your worth or earn his affection. When a man isn't in love, his lack of effort, connection, and emotional presence speaks louder than any excuse he gives. And recognizing these signs isn't about blame, it's about protecting your heart and knowing when to walk towards someone who truly values you. When a man genuinely loves you, the way you respond can shape the entire direction of the relationship. Love is not just something you receive, it's something you engage with, nurture, and allow to grow. Many women unknowingly push love away because they're afraid of being vulnerable, or they respond from past hurt instead of present connection. But when a man shows real, consistent love, your response becomes an invitation for deeper intimacy, trust, and emotional security. The first way to respond is by acknowledging his effort. Men express love through action, and those actions deserve recognition. You don't have to applaud every small gesture, but letting him know you see and appreciate how he shows up encourages him to continue. Love thrives where it feels valued. Another powerful response is emotional openness. If he's lowering his guard, let him know it's safe. Share your feelings honestly, not just the polished ones, but your true thoughts, desires, and fears. A man who loves you wants access to your inner world, and allowing him in builds a bond that's hard to break. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the bridge that deepens connection. Also match his consistency. When he makes time, make time. When he invests, invest. When he communicates, respond with clarity. Not from pressure or obligation, but from a place of equal partnership. Love feels balanced when both people contribute their energy and presence. Another essential response is setting healthy boundaries. Yes, even in love, a man who truly cares will respect your limits, your goals, and your personal space. Healthy boundaries don't push love away. They protect it. They create a relationship where both people can breathe, grow, and stay emotionally grounded. Show appreciation not only through words but through actions that align with your feelings. Support his goals, celebrate his wins, stand by him when life gets heavy. Love becomes stronger when both partners are each other's safe place. Most importantly, allow yourself to trust the love he's offering. Not blindly, but with awareness. When his actions consistently show care, loyalty, and effort, let the relationship unfold without constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Responding to genuine love with openness, balance, and authenticity creates a relationship where both hearts feel secure, a space where love isn't just felt but lived every day. Before you can fully recognize or receive real love from someone else, you have to understand the relationship you have with yourself. Self-worth isn't just a buzzword. It's the foundation that determines the kind of love you allow into your life. The truth is, we don't accept what we want. We accept what we believe we deserve. And when your self-worth is strong, you naturally attract partners who respect, value, and cherish you. One of the first steps toward attracting healthy love is recognizing your inherent value, even when no one is standing beside you. Many people look for a relationship to fill a void, to fix insecurities, or to validate their worth. But healthy love isn't built on rescue missions or dependency. It's built on two whole people choosing each other, not needing each other to feel complete. When you know who you are, what you want, and what you stand for, you stop settling for love that drains you. Instead, you choose love that aligns with the person you're becoming. Self-worth also affects your boundaries. When you trust your value, you no longer tolerate inconsistency, manipulation, or emotional crumbs. You don't chase someone who's unsure. You don't overextend yourself trying to prove your worth. Instead, you protect your peace. You walk away when something no longer honors you. You stop confusing intensity with intimacy and start recognizing that love should bring clarity, not confusion. Another key part of self-worth is emotional independence. This doesn't mean shutting people out or pretending you don't need anyone. It means you're not relying on a relationship to define your identity or determine your happiness. You can love someone deeply, but your world doesn't collapse if they're not the center of it. When you reach this place, love becomes a choice, not a lifeline. And that's the kind of love that lasts. Healthy love is attracted to confidence, not arrogance, but the quiet confidence of knowing you're deserving of kindness, effort, and consistency. This confidence shapes the energy you give off. People who are emotionally mature and ready for commitment are drawn to partners who value themselves. Why? Because self-worth radiates stability, trust, and emotional safety, three things that create strong, fulfilling relationships. Another aspect of attracting healthy love is learning to receive it. Many people sabotage good relationships because love feels foreign or uncomfortable. If you've been hurt, disappointed, or betrayed before, real love can feel suspicious. But part of self-worth is allowing healthy love in without assuming it's temporary. Accepting affection, honesty, loyalty, and respect means you believe you deserve them, and that belief transforms your entire experience of love. Finally, remember that the love you attract is often a reflection of the love you give yourself. When you speak kindly to yourself, honor your needs, pursue your goals, and treat your heart with care, you create a magnetic energy. You attract partners who treat you with the same level of respect and tenderness. Building self-worth isn't just about loving yourself, it's about becoming the kind of person who draws in love that is authentic, steady, and emotionally healthy. And when you reach that place, love doesn't just find you, it stays. As we wrap up this video, it's important to pause and reflect on everything we've explored today. Understanding when a man truly loves you isn't about overanalyzing every word, text, or gesture. It's about noticing consistent patterns, recognizing authenticity in his actions, and trusting both your intuition and the signals your heart has been quietly observing all along. True love isn't fleeting or performative. It's steady, deliberate, and often understated, but unmistakable once you know what to look for. The first step is awareness. Take note of the subtle signs, the small moments, and the consistent behaviors that reveal his feelings. Is he present when you need him? Does he prioritize your well-being and show emotional support without being asked? These are not minor details, they are the language of love. Awareness allows you to see clearly and separate genuine affection from fleeting attention or empty words. Next, consider your response. When a man shows authentic love, the way you engage matters. Express appreciation, reciprocate effort, and be emotionally open. Healthy love is a two-way street. It requires participation, trust, and a willingness to meet each other with honesty and care. This is also where boundaries come into play. Being open doesn't mean compromising your values or self-respect. In fact, protecting your emotional space ensures that love remains balanced, sustainable, and respectful. It's equally vital to cultivate self-worth. Remember that the love you attract is a reflection of how you value yourself. Prioritize your emotional well-being, pursue your goals, and honor your needs. When you respect yourself, you naturally draw people who treat you with the same respect and consistency. You stop settling for inconsistency or emotional crumbs and instead open the door for love that is healthy, authentic, and lasting. Finally, take action with clarity. Trust your instincts, communicate openly, and observe whether his love is steady over time. Genuine love doesn't require constant testing or doubt. It creates a sense of safety, trust, and emotional stability. Allow yourself to step into that reality, knowing you are worthy of being loved fully and authentically. In the end, understanding love is about clarity, awareness, and self-respect. When you combine these elements, you can confidently navigate relationships, recognize when a man truly loves you, and create a partnership built on trust, respect, and lasting connection. Your heart deserves nothing less than that kind of love.